Is democracy doomed? Most people are fully aware that fewer people ages 18 to 25 vote than any other age group. This is an issue. The definition of democracy is a system of government in which leaders are elected in a way to represent the people. Approximately 15% of people in the United States are 18 to 25 years old. However, only 50% of these people vote in a good year, with the average being closer to 45%. This affects the levels of representation, meaning it is less democratic. If you look at all of these statistics by themselves, it looks pretty bad for democracy. It almost looks like democracy might be doomed. However, we need to look at some facts. First, young people have always voted less. A graph by the U.S. Census Bureau shows that 18 to 29-year-olds have been voting less since 1980, with less than 50% voting compared to the closer to 75% of 45 to 64-year-olds. What does this show? Young people have always voted less than people 30 and older, and probably will continue to do so. They're simply less educated in politics and are navigating figuring out what news is fake, how to register, and where to vote. In a poll by Circle, 39% of 18 to 21-year-olds did not know where to vote. As you get older, you become more knowledgeable in terms of politics, as well as how to register and where to go. There's a lot of stress around the subject of voting, and it can be a lot more overwhelming for younger people. Young people voting less today might be less representative of the United States. And we at Strong Foundations and Futures are trying to get more young people to vote. But it's also completely normal and has been happening for years. Second, in recent elections, there has been a spike in voting in 18 to 25-year-olds. From 2016 to 2020, it went from 39.4% of 18 to 24-year-olds voting to 48%. This spike is also visible in midterm elections, with only 20% of 18 to 29-year-olds voting in 2014, spiking 16% to 36% in 2018. At Strong Foundations and Futures, we believe that Gen Z is more interested in voting than past generations. A great example of this is at St. Olaf College in Minnesota, where 88% of eligible students voted in the 2020 election, which is drastic in comparison to the 66% other colleges and universities reported that same year. These trends show in our very own home state of Michigan, too. According to Circle, in midterm elections in 2014, only 15.3% of youth in Michigan voted. In 2022, that number was 36.5%. That is 21.3% more youth voting in Michigan. Is this the case in every state? Sadly, no. In most states, there was a jump from 2014 to 2018, but in states like Montana, there's a 13.9% drop from 2018 to 2022. Only 4 states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, and Arkansas, had a higher youth voting turnout rate from 2018 to 2022. This looks like the opposite of what we have been saying this whole time. But let's just focus on Michigan for now. As citizens of Michigan, we can help to continue this trend, as well as bring it to other states. But let's also not forget the first part of Strong Foundations and Futures, foundations. We believe that the country, especially the Constitution, was set up in such a way that our democracy will not fail. With things like checks and balances and the ability to have control over certain aspects of the government, we believe that democracy has a net to catch us if it falls. The United States Constitution, the document that holds democracy together, is already packed with fail-safes and ways to ensure that the country will stay strong. But we also have the added precaution of amendments. When something isn't right, people fight for it, And a lot of the time, if it's important and is a mistake in the Constitution, whether it's something like women's suffrage or unreasonable search and seizure, we can fight for an amendment to be made. In conclusion, if we keep youth voting, democracy will not fail. Youth are voting more than in the past, including in Michigan. Representation levels are rising, fulfilling the definition of democracy. Our country has strong foundations, as well as strong futures. We can be the change to save our system of government.